Well, Simon, obviously Rafa Benitez facing Liverpool, you facing Preston, two managers facing their former clubs, and many happy memories at a successful period in the club's history and your history.
Yeah, definitely. Look, I had 4.5 years there, successful times when you go to a club and you turn the fortunes round with a promotion, stabilise the club and leave them in a real good state in terms of where they finished for the last 2 years, the strength and depth of the squad, the value of the squad compared to the money that we spent there. Certainly left him in a good state, and ultimately really enjoyed myself there. Had a real good affiliation with the supporters, the owners, Peter Ridsdale, who worked above me, the players, and it was not an easy decision to make when I left the football club. So I made that decision, but I certainly had a fantastic time there and really enjoyed myself.
Are you expecting a good response from the fans?
Well, who knows in football? I haven't got a clue. All I'm going to do go there is be focused and try and win the game. Leave that to supporters to do whatever they feel is appropriate to do.
You'd obviously rather be going there in better fettle as a team. I mean, harsh words apparently said after the game at Ipswich. I mean, what's the atmosphere, the mood on the training ground been since then?
It's been good. We were in on Wednesday, which we were always going to be. We were off yesterday to do get away from the place, and that was always the schedule, so I wasn't changing things. We had constructive words in terms of criticism on Tuesday night. I had a conversation with Mick McCarthy yesterday, who rung me out of the blue and just said, look, your team did well. That game was never a 5-2 game. You sort of the difference was that they played well, took the chances. We made a few basic errors, but you've got your team playing for you, and that's all you can. That's all you like to hear from opposition managers. Mick didn't have any obligation to ring me or anything like that, but he felt that he wanted to do that and appreciate his comment. So what's happened, we have to learn from. We have to eradicate certain areas of the pitch to make us better, and hopefully going to the weekend we're going to get a positive result.
Jason Steele was obviously quite emotional, comes back into the side and on a night lets in 5 goals, but was quite emotional afterwards. Felt that in some ways the team hadn't worked hard enough. Would you think that was?
Well, I think, again, I go back to what Mick said. He says your team are not working or trying, but maybe they have to have a little bit more urgency about them in terms of stopping the opposition, and that's exactly how I felt on the night, that we allowed Ipswich to have too much time and room to go and play, put balls into the box and get turned and ask questions of us. We need to be a bit brave and get up against people and stop the opposition from playing. So I think what Jason said and felt was rightly so, and I think it was a reaction of the dressing room as well. This group of players care about the results. People might think that they don't, but they certainly do, because I know what they're doing on the training ground. I know what the spirit is like in the dressing room, and there's a good feel about the place, trying to make sure that we put things right, and that's all we have to try and concentrate on.
6 defeats in 7. You're going into an international break, and it's generally felt that if you can go in with a decent result to the international break, it just makes it a lot more straightforward in terms of preparing for the rest of the season.
Well, ultimately, we want to win a football match. We have to stop the rot of results that we've had with a positive performance, whether it's a draw or a win, which we'd love to have. And then you've got 10 days, 2 weeks to do some work with the players. That sounds good in practice, but ultimately we're going to have probably 8 away on international duty as well. So we'll have the mixed balance of players away and doing work on the training pitch. But you would like to get a result at the weekend, because it'll bring to halt the run that we're on at this moment in time.
The Forest game, for instance, you were desperately unlucky to lose the game to a late goal. Obviously, Ipswich deserved it on Tuesday, and the doubters are now sort of saying, well, is the manager good enough? Is the team good enough? Are we in free fall? I suppose the only way you can silence that sort of talk is by breaking that run and getting a win. Well,
exactly. And even the other night at 2-1, their goalkeeper makes a fantastic save to make it 2-2. And even Mick's talking to me yesterday again about at 4-2, we looked like we were going to get the next goal and they were going to be hanging on. He was worried sort of that last 15-20 minutes where we actually had them on the ropes, and then we give a daft goal away again, and that sort of put an end to the game. But we know what we need to do. We know we need to do the basics better. We know that we need to be harder to play against, and what we have to do is make sure that anybody who's having any doubts about any of us, that we can turn around and stick 2 fingers up at people and say, look, we care about this club and we're here to get results. And there's no way you can go through a season without suffering any disappointment, and we're suffering disappointment this moment in time. Are we good enough? Certainly are. Am I good enough? Certainly are. We're all caring about the situation, and ultimately we'll do what's required to try and get some results and stop the results that we're having at the moment in time.
you're obviously damned if you do and damned if you don't. You made 5 changes. You're obviously trying to get a sort of winning formula with a fairly new squad of players. One obvious selection dilemma will be, I suppose, Router or Jason Steele, who obviously had that, as he did against Celtic, that very difficult evening, just in terms of the number of goals conceded.
Yeah, but I think when you look at the goals, he wasn't to be blamed for any of them, really. I think if people are allowed to put the ball into the box and get free opportunities or players not stay with runners, that's nothing the goalkeeper could have done. What's to say Robin Reuter wouldn't have conceded the 5 goals as well, because it was apportioned the blame on the outfield players that didn't stop that opportunity. So both goalkeepers have got an opportunity to play. We would all love to be picking the same team week in and week out, because that means the team are winning. When you're not winning, you've got to try and find a winning formula to get a result for you. So whatever team we put out against Preston has to be one that's determined, hard-working, organised, and not an easy touch to lose the game.
You've obviously got to defend as a team, but there'll be a lot of focus on the back four, I suppose. What's the situation with Mark Wilson?
Will be out. He's been suffering with a bit of a groin injury over the last 10 days or so. So he will be probably one of the only ones that is unavailable this weekend.
Simon, obviously a lot of that Preston team tomorrow is probably going to be your Preston team, so you kind of maybe know what to expect from them. What can you expect from them?
Well, I think what they are is they're a hard-working team. They've got a lot of energy. They're a young, youthful team who play with a real desire and hunger. And I said they've got legs, they've got energy in the team, they've got some good quality. So they're not up there 4th, 5th in the division by chance. I left a good squad there. Alex has taken over the reins and kept going with what we were doing previously, added his bits, which you expect as a new manager going in. So, yeah, I know a lot of the strengths and weaknesses. Hopefully that'll pay for our advantage.
Perhaps a slightly unfair question, but as things have been hard over the last few weeks, have you regretted your decision at all?
No, I've lived my life without any regrets, and I would have had regrets if I'd not taken this job. That's how I look at things. I had opportunities to leave Preston many times while I was there. There wasn't the right time to leave. When the Sunderland job came available, I thought that this was too big an opportunity for myself not to turn down. So I've got no regrets leaving. Yeah, of course I'd like to be in a different position where we are. I'd like to be swapping positions with a lot of other teams. So, but ultimately, no, I've got no regrets. Confidence in this group that I've got. We'll get further up the table. Confidence in my ability that we'll do the same.
And I suppose from what you've explained there, the reason you made the switch was because you saw the potential in this football club. So that is the frustration of where you find yourself at the moment, isn't it? Because you know that it's there to be unlocked somewhere. Well,
exactly. And when I speak to a lot of other managers, they're saying exactly the same as I was thinking at the time, that you made the right decision. You've earned the right to manage such a big club like this. Yeah, it's not going how we want it at this moment in time, but it's a bigger, longer term view of how things need to develop and change at this club. Always said from day one that this was never going to happen overnight. Didn't have a magic wand. Started the season well, suffered some disappointments, but again, there's lots of games still to be played, and plenty of action and opportunities for us to be better, which I'm certainly we will be.
Do you think it's time to sort of move the conversation on? By which I mean, an awful lot of talk about the problems that you inherited, problems within the club, that kind of thing. It's really just the solutions that matter?
100%. I've always said, again, from day one, that I wasn't part of anything that's happened at this football club from coming in the door. What I've been part of is happened since then, and I've been trying to change the mentality of the training ground and the people that work here, the players, the supporters. And there's a lot of frustration built up over a number of years. But what we can affect is the future, and that started on Saturday, and then it's QPR after that, and that's all we have to try and focus on. And if everybody can buy into what we're trying to do and say, then it's going to be made a lot easier to do. But I accept that there is a lot of frustration around, and results like this will bring people out of the woodwork who are moaning and complaining that have probably never been to Ipswich on a Tuesday night or not really been up and down the country. On the other side, there's a lot of supporters that have done that and have a right to voice an opinion, but we've got to be positive in our approach and everything that we're looking to do.